So a super unique story. We had just finished a tournament and we were in Argyle. And if you know anything about Argyle, Texas, pretty good sports, like everything. And this particular young lady and her father were at odds at different times for youth sports, various things, right? And this particular moment, this tournament, I was the coach. It's not my kid, but she was being very disrespectful to her teammates. And I addressed her very firmly during the game of like, we're not gonna talk that way to our team ever. There's no reason, no one's that good to talk that way to their team. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna sit over there, and I think I said something of the nature, you're gonna grow roots over there until you figure out a way to get that fixed.
Yeah.
And boy, was she mad. And we ended up losing. And I was like, I'm willing to take the loss so you can learn the lesson.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, her dad comes to me after the game, and I'm expecting, okay, here we go. We're gonna hear it. And dad comes to me and goes, thank you. Mm. I've been wanting to tell her that. She didn't want to hear it. And they get the car ride. A couple of days later, he said, Coach, I want to tell you this. Because of that conversation, you may have saved my daughter and I's relationship.
It's big.
And so after hearing that, I was like, you got to tell the kids the truth, especially when it comes to a heart issue.
Yeah.
That was a heart issue that she had. She didn't play hard. It wasn't because she didn't perform well. It's because you're treating people in a way that's unacceptable at any time. It doesn't matter what it is. You're not going to talk that way to people that are doing their best just like you are. Like you're not in that space. Let me do that. You coach, you give high fives, you get fifth lunch, you get pat on the butts. You don't tell nobody all that stuff that you did. And that particular guy tells me that story about every 5 years. And this was years ago. And he still goes, that literally pivoted our relationship. So that's how important the car ride is.
Yeah.
If it's used productively.
Yeah. Yeah, I really think about, the coaches, and if coaches knew that parents would have their back. You were prepared for him to come in and say,
no doubt,
hey, it's my daughter, leave it alone.
Uh-huh.
But if coaches knew, ultimately parents care about the heart development and the character first, that they have the right to correct that because they have authority and they are in a position to make a huge impact with kids. If coaches knew, parents will have my back on this.
Yeah.
Man, that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of times it's hard for coaches, especially volunteer coaches.
No doubt.
I don't want to deal with the parent at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let that go. And that's really the hardest thing to watch, is letting that go unaddressed when it's like, this is the pivotal moment. This is where they're going to learn. If they're pulled off the court, they're pulled off the field, they will learn. You can't talk to somebody like that. You can't treat somebody like that. I was thinking one day, my son, I caught him, and he's a great kid, but I caught him getting into a negative mindset, and I heard him speaking poorly about a teammate on the way out of the ballpark. Yeah. And that was the point where I stopped, and we're not waiting to talk about this. Yeah. So we're not giving this 24 hours. We're not even getting in a car to talk about this. We stopped right in the middle of the parking lot, and I got on his level and said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You will never talk about your teammate like that.
Yeah.
Everybody makes mistakes. You don't want your teammate talking about you when you make a mistake. And he knew this, I meant business here.
Yeah.
Now, the time when he botched 3 balls in 1 inning, I went and took a drive myself without him. Cool off, because we're not going to talk about booting 3 balls in 1 inning in the car. But I will talk to you about your heart issues, and that it needs to get addressed.
So then, like, what's the difference, right? What's the difference between the heart issue and the typical car ride that has something to do with performance? Like, what's the difference, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think one is the overall character and who your child is developing into. And I think you're communicating the priority on that you can still find things in your kid that are positive when they boot 3 balls in a game. Right. But you can still find great things to coach up in your kid and call out in your kid. but that character issue, if that's unaddressed, that's a major issue years from now,
right?
If it's not called out.
Well, and that's the thing that really they take into the workplace. They take that into next levels if it's never addressed.
Yeah.
The ability to, go 3 for 4 in the game that's relative to the game and who you're facing, who your opponent is. Let's talk a little bit about the negative that typically car rides happen, right? The hard part that the parent is now addressing all of the Rolodex of performance issues that we know happen. Because when that kid gets in the car, you can see by the parent, by the way they leave that facility, what's going to happen to that kid verbally in that car. And, let's talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, statistically, or there's something out there where kids say that is the worst part of the game is getting in the car on the car ride home. And ouch, that's really sad, because how much time do we spend in the car with a kid? If that's the association, that's the worst part of the day or the weekend. I mean, we're spending a lot of time in there. And so if you're not using it wisely and positively, then that's a lot of wasted or actually detrimental time.
Right.
Not used wisely.
I would, especially with the travel circuit that people are doing, think about if your last game or match that you had was bad. That's in some cases, a 2-hour drive of hearing that ongoing message.
Yeah.
I mean, how many kids would be like, I can't wait to the next tournament or next game to play because of everything that I did wrong. And we, everybody has talked about this, but what can we equip parents with that can help them as they navigate that car ride home? Because we know what's said of you didn't do this and you didn't do this and you could have done this better and you could have done. What are some things that we can give them that you've seen have worked, or that you've tried or you've heard to help them navigate that?
Well, the two things that come to mind that I've personally been trying recently as somebody who also is going through this and struggles with it. One is asking my kid, what did your coach teach you today? What did they tell you today? They don't need to hear my thoughts. I want to hear, and that allows me to know how checked in was my kid during the game, or how checked out were they? But also, I have a responsibility as a parent. That's their coach. If their coach is teaching them this, as long as it's not physically harmful to them, it's not abusive, okay, then that's what you should focus on. You shouldn't even focus on what I'm seeing on your backhand if they're talking to you about this on, how you're holding your glove. Focus on, that's the coach's job. I want you to listen to your coach. Cool. So first asking, what did your coach teach you today or say to you today? And then 2, actually looking for something that was non-physical in the game to be able to pull out of my pocket to talk to my kid about when the opponent ran into them at first base and they gave them a hand up and they were really kind and courteous. They had good sportsmanship, or the umpire made a bad call and I saw them keep their shoulders up and their head back. That was really, really good. Looking for those things, but I think you have to be intentional. Otherwise you overlook it if you're just looking at the production. So look for those things. What about you? So
I think mine is like trying to find the good, especially when it's, if it's a game where, well, I guess there's 2 ways. If my kid looks like they don't care, right? And win or loss, I'm like, well, how'd you feel about the game? And my kids in particular sometimes will go very nonchalantly, I mean, right? And I go, well, come on, you got to give me something here. And I'll fish for that sometimes for a while. And then once we get something, I'll go, okay, well, how you feel about that? I don't want to talk about it. Well, younger version of me goes, no, we're going to talk about it because we're here. We're going to talk about it, good, bad, or indifferent. Now, the more mature version of me goes, okay. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, they got another game they're going to be playing in some cases, 2 hours, in 3 hours. But in some cases, next weekend, we're going to be doing the exact same thing. They don't want to talk about it? Okay. Unless, like mentioned, there's a character issue. And another thing that a guy actually taught me this. He said, how many fist bumps did you give out today? And I was like, oh, that's different. So now they're focusing on how they're empowering someone else.
Yeah.
How many positive touches did you give? I'm like, oh, so I've tried that a few times. And I have to try to remember that intentionally.
Yeah.
At times if I think my kids are kind of being away from, or like focused on themselves, or feeling sorry for themselves, or feeling too good about themselves, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like, how many people did you lift today?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because in long term, right, that serves them. That's a character thing for the good of like, wow, they are intentionally encouraging someone else, or who on your team is struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Like looking for them to be a servant.
Yeah.
Versus just being all the time being a receiver of information. How many times are you being intentional to help your team?
Yeah.
And help your teammates?
Yeah.
And then they've created a friend, right? So those are the things that I try to incorporate. If look back in life, right, what are the things that you want as an employee, for an employee or an employer? What would they look forward to? And those are the things that, man, that person makes me feel good all the time. Or I just like to be around them. Well, how do you incorporate that in youth sports? How many times do you give me a fist bump or chest bump or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Or pat on the butt. Or, hey man, you okay?
Yeah.
Coach tripping. Don't worry about coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How many times are you doing that? Because then you create a friend, and it's a way better moment. And it forces me to get out of turnovers did they get? How many, all that stuff, how many missed rebounds, and it forces me to think long term, which is what we're about in this whole conversation that we're having, is getting to the heart of the kid.
Yeah.
I really think that really shows them the nature of Christ, right? It's like, hey, we serve a Savior that did nothing wrong and gave his life for us, right? And so we're like, all we do is wrong. And so it just shows them a role of like, hey, I need to repent to you. I'm so wrong here in this thing. And I remember this very vividly, the first time I apologized to my son, who's now about to graduate. And I remember the look on his face was like, what? You apologize to me? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it also on the flip side, he showed the humility of Christ of going like, it's okay, Dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's a different moment. It makes you feel different when you're going that quick. He was able to go, it's okay, Dad. And I'm being like, whoa, I need to do the same thing. I need to make him feel the same way. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And
it's powerful.
When you see that moment the first time, like Abigail mentioned, like when you do it, it does something internally to you and to them. And I think that's that God moment when, which everything is a God moment, right? But that's a moment where you intentionally see how your creator helps his creation.
And the enemy will tell you that apologizing is going to take your authority away.
No doubt.
Well, my kids aren't going to respect me because I owned it. I made a mistake, and now I've lost my authority in this relationship. And that really is not how it goes down at all. I think it actually builds respect in the relationship.